All right, here we are. It's been 2 weeks already. Can't believe it's been 2 weeks since we've had one of these. We're excited to always have these. And we're getting closer to Thanksgiving. We're getting closer to Christmas and NFR. We got a lot going on. Mickey, you're going down to Arizona here today. Josie, you're down there in Arizona already. So heck yeah. And the other thing we're getting close to is our Black Friday. That's our Black Friday sale. So this call today is all about that. Answer all your questions you have, and we'll make sure we answer them, and that way you can take advantage of those Black Friday savings. So question to you is, Mickey, why the heck are you going down to Arizona?
I'm going to build gates. I didn't say I'm going to build gates. I'm going to build gates. I built a Mare Motel there last year, and I'm going back to finish the gates. There's 20 gates I got to build, and that should take me most of tomorrow and the next day. So
it has nothing to do with this rainy, cold weather we've been having.
No, it's not been too cold yet. I can still be a cowboy at 50 degrees.
Well, I've broke ice the last 2 mornings, so not this morning, but the previous 2 mornings.
Don't get up that early. You won't have to worry about it.
That's the trick, I guess, huh?
Yeah, that's it. It's not a big deal. Just stay in bed a little longer.
Oh my heck.
Let the sun get to it, and you won't have to worry about it. There'll come a point in this winter that the ice won't melt because of the sun, but right now it's still okay.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, we always start these calls off with wins. So these are an opportunity for you to brag on silver lining, brag on an experience that you've had, and so you can share that with other people, and they can garner that experience that you had. And I'm looking up at Josie England on the screen. I'm not going to call on you, but I was just thinking about you had an experience where your horse got a really bad cut this week, and so that's a prime example of the power dust getting put to work and how important that power dust is. So it's just good to have those things available to us.
Yeah, I'm thankful for you, Chance, when I'm new here, so working here, so I'm learning as I go. But yeah, I'm thankful for you when all that happened. I think you could tell I was kind of panicked, and I don't like it. These horses are like my kids, so when they get hurt, it's pretty scary to me. So Chance got me set up. I got my products ordered, and they should be here soon to not exactly the way I wanted to have my first employee testimony, but we're going to go with it. It's what I have at my feet. So I can't wait to try these products out.
Well, I guess tell the story of what exactly happened then.
We're not, I swear you could have a donkey in a junkyard and he would never get hurt. But if you have a nice horse in a pen that is clean, they will find a way to hurt themselves. So we just went out to feed one morning, and there was just a ton of blood and a huge cut on his back right leg, right below the hock. He did get an artery pretty good, so there was a lot of blood. Me personally, I don't like that at all. I was feeling a little wheezy. So we hauled him super quickly to an equine vet a couple hours away. They had to do some x-rays. Luckily, he was just barely missed the joint. So that's a really good sign, but it's all going to be pretty cosmetic. So the power dust, I'm looking forward to using that because Proud Flesh, and they're kind of worried about infection. So these next couple weeks, it will be wrapping that leg and keeping him stalled for the next 6 weeks. And then hopefully we can start riding him again in a couple months.
Awesome.
But it was a traumatic experience for sure.
Well, I'm glad you had that knowledge and was able to get your horse taken care of, got the product coming your way, so all will be well.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Well, and you don't have to worry about proud flesh and infection, either one, with the power dust.
Yes.
It's all taken care of. The only time you have proud flesh is when you don't have a healing process going on. When the healing is stagnant, that's when proud flesh is there. And so you just keep a good blood supply, and I don't even worry about keeping it clean. I mean, you know, the healing takes place anyway. And in fact, one of the things I don't like to see done is what they call irrigating it, putting, you know, spraying it down with water and stuff. That just, I never see a good, clean healing process when they do that. So for whatever reason, and I can't even tell you why, but I suspect it's because it disrupts that healing process as it's happening. And then it also introduces new bacteria and whatever it might be that's in the water, you know. So anyway, I don't like
we haven't been doing any cleaning it off or anything right now. It's just since it's in that weird spot, just right now, it's just trying to keep it covered so those stitches stay in there good, and then we'll be able to get those stitches out next week. So that'll be better. And he's the type of horse that has a lot of energy. So this stall rest, he's already climbing the walls.
Yeah.
I think he's healed.
Well, good. Hope everything works out good for you.
Me too. Thank you.
As long as you're on that thread, Chance, I'll tell a story about a time that when I gained a pretty good testimony of how quickly it would do it. I mean, I've got multiple stories, but one of the stories was I was putting a rodeo school on many years ago, and I was in my indoor arena sitting on a saddle horse. I had a horse that was a first time prospect, and so she was standing in this alley and she was nervous to be there. She was back and forth. She tripped the gate with her chin, tripped that handle and opened the gate and got in the alley with the bull that was in there. And the bull was arguing with another bull. He wasn't necessarily mean with horses or anything, but he was arguing with another bull through the fence. And this mare went up the alley, and when she come back, that bull seen her coming, so he backed up and kind of looked towards her. Meanwhile, the other bull kind of jumped at the fence and like that, and he turned his attention back to him just as that mare got between him and that other bull, and he ripped a horn right from the bottom of her rib cage clear out through the top of the withers, and you could stick your hand to there in that wound the whole way. I mean, and I watched it happen. It was as quick as it took for that bull to throw his head up like that. But anyway, I brought her right in and throwed the power dust in that, and I'd done it every day and within 3 weeks, that was about 8 inches long, and it was pinched down, no stitches, nothing, just it was pinched down, and there was a white line all the way around that, and it was just pulling together. It wasn't even a scar when that was done. And so, yeah, I've seen some tremendous things, and so I have a pretty good testimony of that product, as well as most of the products, and all the products that we got, actually. So
Yeah, I'm pretty excited and curious to see, like, because we've had him back home now since Monday. So we've started the healing process without silver lining products. So I'm excited to see once I get like the power dust and everything in, how quickly that progresses from just not doing anything.
well, and when you have a wound that's a little older, before you start the power dust on there, it's a good idea to use the infection fighter too, the INFX number 25. I mean, that just make sure that you get rid of the infection on the inside of the horse as well. The power dust is going to address the infection on the outside, on the external parts, but the internal parts need help too sometimes. So I'd like to put the infection fighter with it, especially if it's been a few days before you start.
Perfect. I will do that.
Okay.
So this whole call today is for you guys. So if you have a specific question for Mickey, raise your virtual hand, put it in the chat. I see we have one over there already. And we'll get to that. But Mickey, you and I, just before this call, we were kind of talking about kind of the subject, like what are the most important things to have on hand for those emergency situations? Because, you know, like to Josie's point, she wasn't counting on her walking out to do chores that morning and see her horse with a big cut on its leg. And then now it's an actual emergency because we don't have the right things on hand. So, you know, open wounds is one of those things, but there's other things that come up too. So like, what's your go-to list? What would you recommend like for everybody to have on hand?
Well, Chance, I mean, the list is pretty extensive, but anything that can go wrong with animals goes wrong with them. That's just Murphy is out there alive and well, right? But I always try to have something to keep their immune system up. So I always like the immune support to just to be kind of going in once in a while and making sure the immune system's up. The horses are always feeling good. Your dogs are always feeling good. You're always feeling good. If you can keep your immune system up, then, you know, most of the other stuff kind of goes away. But, you know, everything from digestive issues, you know, if you've got horses, most people are going to have occasion to use something for colic. And so I like to have a tube of that colic ease around, although I have not had a horse colic for 40 years probably, but because I do things that prevent it. But the list of the things that you could have on hand, I guess every product we own is something that you could have on hand, because who knows what's going to come. But, you know, things that are serious and demand attention right now are obviously your wounds, your digestive issues when you got a horse that's colicking, or
And Mickey, when you said wounds, like, so what specifically would you have on hand for those wounds? Just the 16 power dust?
The 16 power dust and the 25 INFX, which is an infection fighting combination. Those two, you know, I like to have those in my trailer just all the time anyway, because you don't know, like if you're going to encounter something on the road, or somebody else's horses are sick and yours starts to get a little bit droopy or whatever, you can give them some infection fighter and clean it up and go on about your business. If not, then it gets set in, and of course then you got to deal with it in a more advanced state. So I like to have things, like we've talked before, I like to fly my jet a little farther out there. I don't like to fly right at the windshield. I don't want it to hit me before I realize, oh, I better do something here. And so that's what Josie is getting excited, or getting ready to get excited about right now, because when this happens, when she starts seeing this and she go, whoa, you know what? Yeah, you don't need to have a traumatic thing and not have the answer for it. So we never know. I mean, these horses, just like she said, you can put a donkey in a junk pile and he won't ever hurt himself, but you'd put a nice horse in a pretty nice pen and somewhere or another they figure out how to hurt themselves. And that's just the way it is. So like I said, Murphy is alive and well out there. We just got to make sure that we're always prepared for whatever it might be. The tying up thing, the kidney. So I like to have the kidney support on hand. I don't know.
Why the kidney support?
Well, because the horses that tie up, that's a traumatic thing. I've had many occasions where we've just mixed a tube of this kidney support, mix some water with it and just paste them with it, and they'll walk out of it in just a few minutes. So that's another one of those traumatic things that I like to have around. We've also got a product we call No Lasix that she said she's seen lots of blood there. Well, there are some wounds that do get close to those arteries, and when they do, then you got a lot of blood. And if that's the case, we've got a product we call No Lasix, and not only does it help a horse that's bleeding outwardly through the nostrils, but it also will help stop the blood on contact if in a wound situation. So we are, I like to have the blood cleanse there too. So, or not the blood cleanse, I'm sorry, the no Lasix. But
so you use that topically then, not just internally for like the traditional racehorse or barrel horse that bleeds then.
right, exactly. Yeah, in fact, one of the herbs that's in there is what they call Natto Ginseng or Hunan Payao, and it's a Chinese herb. And that Chinese herb, they in the Vietnamese soldiers' vest pockets, they found little vials of it about this big that they would carry in case they got a gunshot wound. They could stop the bleeding, and they claimed that would stop the bleeding on contact any place except the aorta. It would just absolutely stop it, even if it was a major artery that was cut. And so it's pretty effective, and I personally have seen it work. Lori had a cat bite her on the front of the arm, right in that crook of the elbow, or that big blood vessel comes across on the inner side of your elbow, and that cat bit her on that and tore that open. And every time her heartbeat, it squirt blood out there about 15 feet. And I run and grabbed her and put my thumb on it. And then I got some of that and put in some warm water and let her drink it. And then I put some of it on the wound and hold it there with my thumb, and it quit bleeding within 2 minutes. So, and then not only that, within a week, you could just see some red spots where that cat's teeth had been. No infection, no problems with it. So when you learn the things that we're talking about here, and I'm going to go out to a broader subject now. We, the people, have got to learn to take care of ourselves again. It used to be that people knew this stuff, but now in this day and age, everybody says, oh, I got a sniffly nose, I'm running to the doctor. They run to the doctor and they may or may not get fixed from it, but that's their first thought. And all of us need to start thinking, what is it that we can do and keep in our own possession, in our own homes? And a lot of times it grows around our facilities. Stuff as simple as dandelion and the chaparral that grows in Arizona, and there's lots of stuff out there that grows, yarrow and marshmallow and just different herbs. Well, if we learn how to use those different plants, those different herbs, then we're not near so dependent on the outside sources of the medical profession. And so I woke up yesterday morning and accessed my Facebook, and Candace Owens was there talking about the conditions of the people in Australia. And they are now using military force to keep people from leaving their homes. If they've been vaccinated, they can go as far as 3 kilometers from home. That's about 3.5 miles. If you haven't been vaccinated, you can't leave your home. And so they are really pushing it down to a tight thing. And I don't know where it's going to stop, but if it doesn't stop until it gets to here, we all need to be able to take care of ourselves. And so I would say take the information that you get, take the bug that you get here, and go and learn some things that you can do for yourself. What are the things that might happen to you? Sore throat, diarrhea, bellyache, nausea, whatever it is that might happen at home, there's herbs that will help you through that. And the things that might happen to your horses and your dogs, what are those things? If they're whatever it is, there's herbs that will take care of it, and Silver Lining offers most of that. So I just found out an herb the other day. My brother's been having some really he lives 500 miles from me, and he's been having some digestive issues, and it was really painful. He found out that wild lettuce was a really good pain reliever. I knew it was a pain reliever, but I didn't realize how good it was. And he says, no, I said, it's better than the stuff they give me at the hospital. And to know him, you just would never believe he'd go to the hospital, but he did. And they give him some painkillers that he said didn't numb the pain, but he took this wild lettuce and man, it just totally took the pain away. And so I ordered some wild lettuce. I've never used it. I've always kind of been against the painkillers because I felt like if you have pain, it's because there's a problem and you need to fix that problem. And so, you know, but there are times when, you know, if you mash your thumb or whatever, have some of these things happen to you, then it's not a bad thing to have something for pain. So anyway, always be learning. That's, I guess, the bottom line here, and learn what we're doing so you can bring it to your house and take care of your own horses, your own dogs, your own family, because it's fast coming to a point where we got to know it.
That's so true. And you know, I think you know, Josie is experiencing it now, being new on our team, and that's how it was for me. You know, we spoke about Doc, that gelding that I brought to your house originally and had some issues that I didn't even know was going on, and how that helped him. And then I think about my own family, how I've been able to take care of my own health, and then that stemmed into my wife, my children, and my in-laws, and my, you know, and so it's just such a blessing to learn this information, because, you know, like you've said it a million times, God didn't make any mistakes. He knew all this stuff was going to happen to us, and he created a solution for all these things too.
That's right. And conspiring men have come along and figured out that they can make a lot of money by through disease and what they call health care, which is in most cases far cry from health care. Care is when you take care of something and it's better as a result of it. But so often people spend lots of money to go have something done at the doctor's office and leave there totally frustrated and look around. Now that's what brought my family to the place that we're at now, is we just finally just got tired of, you know, my mom had 8 different operations. The last one that she had, they left one of their tools in her. She said, all right, that's enough of that. And that changed our world. And so, you know, but we had to be pushed to that spot. And, you know, I just hope that people don't have to go that far to find it out. But man, we've seen so many people, so many horses, so many dogs through the years that people have just said, well, the doctors have just told them, no, you know, I can't do any more for you. Go home and get your funeral plans in order, you know, or go home and you're going to have to can this horse. He'll never walk again. He'll never do this. You'll never be able to ride him or do the things you do again. And it's just so obnoxious to hear them kind of things. In most cases, they can be fixed. They can be helped. So we just need to learn it and do it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to bring Danae on here. I'm going to ask to unmute you. You put a question in the chat, and I'd like you to ask Mickey that directly, so that way you can get exactly the information that you're needing. Go ahead.
So I have a mare. She's just a ranch mare, but she's out on pasture all the time, and I've just always had a hard time keeping weight off of her. When I had her in college, she was stalled, and I had her kind of on a ration, and it was still very hard to keep weight off of her. And now that she's kicked out to pasture all the time, I really have a hard time keeping weight off her. Even when she's getting used pretty hard, she's just always a lot fatter than the other ones. And I was kind of looking into your guys' thyroid support, and I was wondering if you could chat a little about that, if that would be a good idea to get her on, if it would be something that would help her out.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of, Danae, when somebody tells me that their horse is overweight. Generally, that thyroid horse is going to have a cresty neck and a fat pocket over the tail head. Not always, but generally that's the case. And I've even had people say, well, we drew blood and the thyroid was fine. But the problem with that oftentimes is the blood shows the condition of the thyroid. So but the thyroid is 2 sides, and one side could be hyper and the other side hypo, and your blood come back looking fine. And in reality, you could have it totally totally disrupt. But has your horse got a cresty neck and the fat over its tail head?
No, she doesn't. She's got a really deep belly on her though. She almost looks pregnant all the time. And she's kind of starting, she's only 12 and she's kind of starting to get a sway back already a little bit, that I've noticed, and I kind of want to keep her from getting that. So I try and do a lot of top line stuff with her and trying to strengthen her like abdominal muscles a little bit to help that, but she doesn't have any fat pockets anywhere or anything.
Okay, she doesn't have a cresty neck then?
Nope.
Okay, well, you could be dealing with hormone issues then, and or digestive issues. Have you wormed her?
Yep. She gets wormed. I haven't started her in the herbal wormer yet. I'm gonna start that next time she needs wormed. She does have some kind of I did try to breed her a couple of years, 3 or 4 years ago. And she had a cyst on her ovary that just constantly kicks out estrogen. So we could never get her to stick. So the hormonal thing could maybe make sense.
Okay, if she's producing too much estrogen, you might try the mare moods, because that's designed
Okay.
progesterone, testosterone, and balance that way. But
Mhm.
I would probably still give her a shot at the thyroid support just to make sure.
Okay.
They don't always have a cresty neck. That's a pretty sure sign that they do have a thyroid issue if they do have a cresty neck. So I
Mhm.
have the thyroid issue without the cresty neck as well. Also, what does her manure look like? Is she passing good manure, or is it? You can tell a lot about the manure, or about the horse, by the manure that they're passing. Is the croppings long, or is it?
It looks pretty normal.
It's not too soft or too hard or anything like that?
No, no, it seems pretty normal. I kind of keep an eye on it all the time, and I haven't seen anything abnormal looking.
Okay. Well, that's probably the best answer I could give you, knowing what I know right now. But the only other thing that it could possibly be is the digestive system not quite working like it's supposed to. But the manure looks good, moist enough, forming good apples, but not too soft, and so on like that. Probably the digestive system is operating fairly good. You're not suspicious of an ulcer or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's probably what I would do, is put her on the mare moods. And there's one other thing: if she has a cyst on an ovary, we have an herb. We have a combination of herbs that we made specifically for cysts, and they might be able to help you at the office by just calling there and asking them if they have that. If not, then I would go with the blood cleanse and the immune support and take care of it that way.
Okay.
And then no,
Thank you so much.
no sweet feeds if you're inclined to do that. So
Yeah, no.
okay, very good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. That's the thing. You're thinking one thing, but then you gotta peel away those layers and get to the root of it, and then it could be something completely different. So that's cool. I learned something there.
Yeah, it's not always easy to know. I mean, and I don't know that I'm 100% right on that either, but we'll know without being intrusive by doing a few things and watching the horse. And so good for her for approaching it that way. rather than just doing something intrusive.
I think that brings up a good point, because I was talking to a customer the other day, and we were thinking that horse had a thyroid issue going on, and they were really nervous about using the thyroid support without getting a true diagnosis from that. So kind of speak to that, like, this it's not going to hurt anything. It's going to still be a benefit to that horse, even if we maybe miss the mark a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's another one of the things that's cool about what we're doing is you're not going to hurt them. I mean, if it's be like you need asparagus, but it's all right if you eat spinach too, right? And so what we're doing is nutrition at the cellular level. The body knows what to do with it. When it gets to the thyroid, if the thyroid's fine, then it just goes right on. But if you put a drug in a horse and that thyroid doesn't need the drug or doesn't accept it at the cellular level, then it becomes a toxin that has to be evacuated through the filtering organs. And so you do it long enough, and that's why there's all these precautions on these drug commercials that you see on TV. You almost always the kidney and the liver are implicated. If you take this, could cause liver failure. Really? Well, at least you got a full head of hair at your funeral, right? So whatever. I mean, that's one thing about the herbs that you can always count on, is that they even if you miss it, even if you miss the mark, you might not see an improvement, but if you don't see the improvement, at least you're not going to see something else happen. They're not going to fall apart because you used them. So that's another mark of a good product, of a good feed. I tell people, if your horses get out of their pen and get into your feed and it hurts them, it's not the right feed. If they get out of their pen and get into your oat bin and eat all they want, and then they'll go over and eat all the hay they want and find your herbs and then eat half a bag of herbs and spill the rest of it, it costs you the cost of the herbs and the oats, but it doesn't hurt your horse. And so that's, to me, is an awesome thing, because you always got horses out. If you got them, there's always one that knows how to get out. There's always a time when you walk out from cleaning the pens, you forget to close the gate, latch it or whatever, but there's always something going to get out. And if they can get into your feed and not hurt them, then that's good feed.
Awesome. So Robin has a question about her dogs, and we have a full lineup of dog products as well. So I'm going to unmute you, Robin, and I'd love to have you ask Mickey your question.
Hi, thank you. So my question is, I have 5 dogs. So I don't want to do the heart guard or the standard stuff you get from a vet for heartworm preventative. So I was just wondering if you actually had a line or something that I could give them for that.
We do, actually. Our herbal wormer works really good. In fact, it's probably been 15 years ago now that we had people contact us and ask if our product would work for heartworms, and I sent some free product to some people to evaluate that, and then followed up with all the testing and stuff that they do for heartworms. And when they reported back, they said it got rid of all of them. So I've relied on that testimony for all this time. I personally don't even own a dog right now. I got tired of burying my best friends. So anyway, right now I don't have a dog, but I've had dogs all my life and never had problems with heartworms.
So how much would you give them and how often then as a preventative?
It depends on the size of the dog. And on our packaging, we specify what that is. It's one capsule for a small dog, 2 for a medium-sized dog, and 3 for a large dog, I believe is the way it is. But it's very easy to do. It's very easy to give, and very effective and safe. And that's another thing about these wormers. So often, right on the package, it'll say, do not administer without using gloves and eye protection. Really? And we're going to open our horse's dog and our dog's mouth and put that inside them? Don't think so. Not my world. So anyway, it's very safe and very effective.
So then you're saying that you would have to give it to him every day for like forever?
For 10 days. I'm sorry, I should have been more specific about that, but for 10
Okay.
days. And the reason we go 10 days is so we make sure we cover the gestation period on the parasites, because most of them are not longer than 10 days.
Okay, and that's monthly, 10 days monthly?
On the month, on the times that you generally like to administer worm care or worm, not worm care, but worm.
To deworm.
Deworm.
Well, because the reason I ask is because if you get like HeartGuard and all of that, that's a monthly preventative. So that's why I'm asking how, as a preventative, because I mean, obviously you don't know when they have heartworms. It's too late at that point. So as a prevent, is it a monthly or is it like
You can do it. You can do it
recommend?
monthly. You can do it monthly. What I generally do with our worming in our area is in the spring and the fall. But in a warmer climate, on the quarter is a better deal. But if you're concerned about heartworms, for instance, you can do that every month or every other month or however you feel like you need to do it. Just
Okay.
be advised that it is a 10-day process when you do it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Actually, somebody's asking, is it okay and safe to give to puppies?
Yes, it is. But if the puppies are still on the mother, still sucking, I just give it to the mother and let her give it to the puppies through the milk.
Okay.
Does that
Okay.
make sense to you?
No, absolutely. Thank you.
And then you can back off the dosage a little bit if you need to, or what kind of dogs are we talking about?
I have just little mutts.
Well, that's all right. I mean, yeah, little mutts, they're still your friends, ain't they?
Well, yeah, I have 5 because my son found one in our neighborhood that we took in, and 2 months later, surprise, we kept them all. So
Oh, I see. Sure. So, yeah, I get it. Foster parents.
yeah, forever foster parents. So yeah, and yeah, they're only, I mean, they're about 10 pounds each. They're just like little, I don't like Lhasa mix Chihuahuas, whatever. I don't know, a bunch of little things.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you so much. And I love your products. And I could tell you a real quick win. I have 2 teenage boys that are baseball players, and one kept complaining about rotator cuff starting. And I said, you need to try this. 2 days later, he walked over to me quietly, want his father to know. And he's like, he goes, the pain's gone. And I said, I told you. But now now that he feels better though, getting him to take it, that's a whole nother story.
well, we was all young and dumb. That's why we end up being wiser when we get older, right?
Absolutely. They're 15 and 16 and they know everything. So
Sure enough. Yeah. Well, good
But-
job.
So Robin, what was that? Was it the bone and joint support that
Yes.
your kids were using?
yeah, because I started giving it to my older mare too, and she's starting to work so much better, which is awesome. I take it because I have back problems. And I kept telling him, I'm like, trust me, this is, you guys, you may not hurt now. I said, but preventative wise, you're athletes, you need to do this. And they didn't listen to me until he needed it. And like I said, it was 2-3 days later, he came and he was like, it doesn't hurt at all. So yeah, I love your products. I try to tell everybody where I board my horse about everything, but they don't all listen, which is kind of frustrating.
I get it.
I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, that's my other question really to you guys is how do you deal with the people that ask you questions, but then don't listen to what you have to say?
Well, you know, this is the way it is. That's human nature. It seems like most of our cases, or a lot of our cases, people come to us when everybody else has thrown their hands up and said, we can't help you. Like when the doctor says to somebody, I can't help you, go get your funeral arrangements in order and get ready to die, you know. Well, then they'll say, well, all right, let's try last ditch effort. They'll try some herbs, or they got a horse that the vets just flat can't figure out. Then they'll ask us about it, or a dog. And a lot of our clientele are that way. Well, then once that happens, they've got friends that's seen it happen, and so they start asking questions, and so it's kind of a snowball effect. But it's people are people. They're not going to change usually what they're doing unless they have a good reason to change. It reminds me of the story in the Old Testament where Moses was taking the children of Israel into the wilderness. They come to a place where there was a poisonous snakes, fiery flying serpents, they called them. Well, these people was getting bit and a lot of them were dying. So Moses inquired of the Lord what to do. The Lord says, take a serpent and raise it upon a staff up above their head, and they would look to it. And that was in symbolic of looking to Christ and living. Well, all they had to do is look up to that emblem and they would live. And it goes on to say, many died because of the ease of the way. It was too easy to do. They wouldn't look up there. And so it's been going on a long time. So don't get frustrated. Just know that, it's great when you know something, and it's really awesome when somebody catches on and learns from you, but not all people will. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, thank you. It's frustrating because it is such an easy fix, and I guess they want the bigger reason. No, there's got to be something else. That's too easy.
Yeah.
And to me, I'd rather try the easy one first, and if that worked, great.
Good for
But
you. Good for you.
yes,
We're glad you're on our team. That's the
I
kind.
am.
That's a great team when you got people thinking like that.
No, absolutely. I am 100% on your team, and I thank you guys so much. And it's just awesome. It really is. I've seen such a change in my two horses alone, and myself and my kids, that I'm a true believer.
Yeah. Well, I take one of those bone tendon cartilage every day myself. Bone and joint, I guess we call it in the people product now. But yeah, I go and play basketball 2 or 3 times a week, a lot of weeks, and I still get around pretty good. Nothing hurts. So guess that's good, huh?
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Robin. So that talk about deworming kind of struck up quite a few questions on Facebook. So wondering if you kind of go over that protocol as far as like the full moon cycle, and like talk about deworming cats as well, if that would be a safe option. And like the one thing that I heard from Robin, I felt like she was like going for is like everybody wants like a really black and white answer of like what to do and how to do it, but we've learned that that's not what's best for the individual always. We need to give them what they need when they need it. It's kind of hard to recognize that, but that's why we're here on this platform, is to educate people so they can understand that a little bit better. So kind of go into the deworming process, for horses, dogs, and cats, and us alike, I guess.
Yeah. It's a subject that none of us want to believe that we might have parasites and worms in us, but guess what? These parasites have a life cycle, and they have to go through a host in order to complete that life cycle. And so you're never going to have a system that's completely parasite free, because it's not the way it's supposed to be. That parasite is there to break down that matter when the host or the individual dies. And so these parasites are in all of us, and there's certain things that dictate when they're the most active. And the one of the things that dictates that is the moon. And so when you have a full moon, like it's waning right now, but when you got a full moon, that is when those parasites are the most active. And so if you will plan your worming schedule to coincide with that, then you will have a better outcome. In other words, there'll be more parasites exposed than if they're just dormant, right? And so we like to tell people to start the worming 10 days before a full moon, and then kind of try to finish it up as the moon starts getting small again. And if you do that, then that's just a better way, but it doesn't need to happen exactly that way. You're still going to get a good job maybe not the best job on a totally dark night, but at the same time, that's what we recommend. And so just if you're concerned that your animal or yourself needs that attention and there's no moon at all, well, do it then. It's okay. And then next time, maybe catch a full moon. So I don't know that there's that there's really a wrong answer, but that's the reason we recommend that.
And then as far as like dosing a cat, I mean, the same weight wise as you would for the canine line, small, most generally 1 capsule for a cat, most generally.
Yeah, generally, I mean, unless it's a very small cat, then and I don't know how they're administering it. I don't know if the cats accept it very well or not, but when you're giving it to a dog, I never have trouble giving the herbs to the dog. I just, if I want to get them something, I'll maybe take a hot dog or a piece of lunch meat or something like that. And they think it's quite a treat. I just roll that up in there and throw it to them, and they usually swallow it without knowing it's there. A cat, on the other hand, is a little bit different. They're going to smell it and they're going to look at it and look around. They might just, their tail go in the air and they walk off. They say, I don't think so. So you might have to be more creative, like.
Yeah, for our cats, when we deworm them, we give them wet cat food at that time. And to your point, we got to show them a little bit of tough love, because usually they'll let it sit there for a day or two, and then they'll break down and eat it, and they realize it's not so bad.
Yeah, but cats are persnickety at that very fast. And so I would suggest that everybody that has a cat is going to just have to figure it out on their own. I have no knowledge on giving it to cats. The cats I've had in my life have all got it through the mouse that they ate. They got the herbs out of the mouse, and so or the rock chuck or whatever it was that they was eating. So I've never dealt with it, but I can tell you that what I would do is, like you said, I'd give them some moist cat food and sprinkle it on there. Take capsule part and sprinkle the herbs on the food. That would be a good way of doing it. I know that if you get too aggressive with them, they'll make you pay for it.
That they will, absolutely. So Michelle just asked, so is this something we need to be doing monthly? And again, it really depends on the individual, right? Like if in the climate that you live in. So like warmer climates, we recommend 4 times a year, quarterly, and cooler climates, typically, generally speaking, twice a year is mostly sufficient. But there's exceptions to every rule. And again, we got to ask the individual what's best for them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're going to have more parasites in a warmer climate than you are in a colder climate. The colder climate tends to back them off in the winter months, and then in the spring, obviously, they got to start over again, and it takes a while for them to get built back up. But in warmer climates, then they're ever present. And so if you want to do it quarterly, or like Robin said there earlier, if you want to do it monthly, it's okay. It's not going to hurt them.
Okay, question on Facebook is, Nikki, when are you publishing your book? Everybody wants all this information.
I wrote a book, and it's actually, I'm waiting on a picture. I'm waiting on one picture, and as soon as that picture gets here, I'm going to release it. But it's not a lot about it. It tells some stories, how we did some stuff and so on, but a lot of this stuff's not in there. I mean, this stuff is available. I mean, there's a lot of people that knows as much or more than I do about herbs and stuff, but like when it comes to the horses and the dogs and stuff, I guess I've had a lot of experience, because I've had a lot of wrecks in my life. I've seen a lot of things happen. So
the book that you're writing is more of an autobiography then?
Yeah, it's just stories about things that's happened in my life, where I came from, what if anybody cares. It's more for my posterity than anything, but it's 380 pages or something, or 280 pages. So there's quite a bit of information there.
Well, there's 2 people on Facebook. They said they'd buy it today if you have it. So I think more people care.
Well, there you go. Then when I order this, I can order 5 or I can order 10 at a time. So maybe I'll order 10. I don't
Oh,
know. It's just I almost feel guilty for doing something like that, but I don't know. I just wanted the kids to know what happened, why I'm like I am, why I holler when I should be shutting up and listening. So.
oh my gosh. So we have Carly over on Facebook. She was asking about the colikies. She wasn't really aware of it. So kind of explain a little bit more about that colikies. Some stories that you've experienced maybe yourself on it, why it's a good product, why we could have it on hand, and like shelf life storage.
Well, the colikies, we are now putting it in is that a 2-dose or a 1-dose paste?
It's still a single dose, but we're looking at launching a 2-dose paste next year.
Okay, so we've got a colic ease, and it's superior in my estimation to the oils or anything like that you can give, that they generally give for horses that are colicking, because it's got a herb in there called slippery elm, and slippery elm, I'm telling you, is like really, really slippery. When you put it on your fingers, it's like, well, the only thing I can compare it to is like snot on a doorknob or something. It's like really slick. Okay, and so when that you got the slippery elm, and then you got cascara, and you got what's the other things in there? Ginger. Okay, and ginger dispels gas. So a lot of times if it's gas colic, the ginger will dissipate that gas. If it's that the digestive system has been sluggish, the cascara will address that. And if they're close to or if the peristalsis isn't happening like it should, well, then all of them together just starts everything moving and moving along very gently and easily. And I've seen some cases where these horses were really, really, really serious colic. I mean, I've seen some colics. None of these were my horses. Josie traded for a horse one time that, and he was really a nice horse, and he was hauling him to a roping, and he felt the trailer rocking, so he stopped in a pole out there, and when he got back there, that horse was hanging on the end of the lead rope, just laying down, and his eyes rolled back in his head, and he was just sweating profusely, and he hurried and got him out, and the horse couldn't even stand up. He just kept laying down, and this woman pulled off and said, "You better call a vet." And he says, "No," he says, "I got it under control." Well, he gets some colic ease out. At that time, we had it in powder, and he was looking for some water to mix it with to administer it. And the lady said, "Well, I'm calling the cops or some." I don't remember. She was mad because he wasn't calling the vet. And so anyway, he says, "Well, you just go over there out of the way and do what you got to do." And so anyway, it only took that horse about 5 minutes. He was up walking around again. He loaded him back in the trailer and went on about his way. And the horse was fine. In fact, he used him the next day at one of his events. So, and I've seen lots of these kinds of things. It's like, it's okay. You can do these things. And then there's also an acupressure point on, the large intestine acupressure point that's on our diagram. I've pressed that, took the end of my pocket knife and pushed down on that and walked them out of a colic as well. But it's like, that's a superficial thing. The colic ease is going to help ease the colic situation and help the digestive system go back to work. So yeah, I've seen some of those kind of things, but the colic ease, unless it's a twist or impaction. Now, if a horse isn't passing manure, it's a serious thing. And I've had people call me and say, "My horse hasn't made manure for like 6 days now." So really, well, you got a real serious thing going on, because you got the strength of that horse's digestive system, just keep pushing it tighter and tighter and tighter, and then they keep feeding them, and they'll get to a point where the horse won't eat anymore. But early on, if you can detect it, if you know that they're not passing manure, that's the time to address it. And so when I pick my pens, I know how many piles of manure my horses are leaving there. And if they're not leaving that many piles in between pen cleaning, then I know that there's something, I'll look at that horse and say, well, what's going on here? And then I might start like the digestive support in their oats and get things moving again, make sure everything's happening. So once again, it's like flying that jet. You got to look way out in front of you. You can't fly it, can't plan on turning right when you get to the object, because you're too late then. So anyway, that's how I see it.
That's awesome. Lisa Short was asking about anhydrosis. I don't think that's something we've ever covered on any of these calls. What would you do in that situation?
And what?
Anhydrosis.
What is that?
Not lack of sweating, not sweating.
Oh, I knew that. All right. Well, usually when they're not sweating, or if they're sweating too much, like if they're not sweating when you work them hard, and then they sweat profusely when you're not working them hard, that's generally a pituitary issue. And the pituitary is just a small gland. It's about the size, I don't know, about the size of your little fingernail at the base of the brain. And that gland signals to the thyroid when to do certain intricacies like hair growth, mammary production, sweating, that kind of stuff. And so generally that's a sign of pituitary or Cushing's. Did you mute yourself?
I muted myself. Now I'm unmuted. That's perfect. So we're about out of time. I know you have a long trip ahead of you. You're going to be driving down to Arizona today. So I think Josie just asked a really good question. Like, what would be your favorite? And then this is like a really hard question, maybe, but what's your favorite 3 products in the equine line, the canine line, and the human line?
Well, my favorite 3 in all of them is the ones I need. If in today's crazy world they come to my door and they said, you take 1 pound of herbs and get out of here, it would be the infection fighter. Because if you can keep infection at bay, if you can keep infection out, you got time to do all the rest of this stuff. Okay, but that's not an answerable question, because if I've got a digestive issue, that's the product I've got to have. If I've got bone issues, that's the product I've got to have. And so that, when I first started this company, I tried to come up, I just wanted one product that would do everything, and it's not doable. That's why horses, that's why our dogs all graze differently. And it's because we graze according to what it is our body needs. And so we've got all these products to answer the question when you need it. And so, like if I said take the kidney and the liver and the digestive support, well, then what happens when I got a wound, or if I've got infection? What if I've got infection deal and kidney thing? What happens if I got a colic situation? So I don't know how to answer that question other than every one of them have a place, and they're awesome in their place.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we got to give the individual what they need, when they need it, the season that they're in, the stage of life that they're in, and for the length of time that it's needed. So I think that's exactly right. So I know there's a lot more questions than that we covered today, but we are out of time. So if you ever have a question, give us a call at the office. Talk to one of our team members here. We have Kendi and Cynthia and myself and Julie and Josie and Mickey, if you can catch him. But we're here to help you because we truly care about improving the quality of life for your horse, your dog, and yourself. And next Friday, we do have our Black Friday sale. It's going to be 25% off your entire order. This will be a great opportunity to try something maybe you haven't tried before. Maybe you haven't used one of our human products before, and you're always so kind to put your animals in front of your own needs. But the truth is, we need you to take care of yourself too. And it might be that try something for your dog, or maybe try the wormer that you've been putting off using. So that's why we have this Black Friday, is for you, to give you the availability to save some money and give you an opportunity to expand your silver lining library. And we just appreciate you guys. We appreciate you being in alignment with us. When we hear your stories and hear your commitment to your animals, it makes it all worth it. There's nothing more, nothing feels better than knowing the work that we're doing out here is being heard. So we appreciate you. We hope that you all have a very safe and great Thanksgiving with your family. We have tremendous gratitude for you, and we appreciate you so much.
Hey, Chance, I want to butt in right quick before we leave.
There he is, the mysterious guy.
I'm actually hanging out in my rental car in Arizona, but I just want to make, what's that?
The other Josie.
Yeah, the other Josie. I've been letting the other Josie steal my thunder today. I'm okay with that. I'm running on little sleep. I left at 2:45 this morning to get down here to Arizona. But I want to make people aware that the Silver Lining trailer will be open for business tomorrow. So I've seen that there's some people in the chats that are down here in Arizona. Come over and see me at the Silver Lining trailer. We've got a new hire that's going to be over there. I'm going to be training, so that's exciting. And like Chance said, we really, really appreciate all of you and tuning into these Zoom calls. Dad, you're on your way down here in what, 15 minutes?
Or less.
Or less. So he'll be down here the rest of the winter too, most of the winter. So you guys take advantage of this warm weather, come down and see us as well. So that's all I wanted to say, Chance, just make everybody aware of that. And I also want to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving personally, and enjoy your time with your family, everybody.
And that trailer will be at Rancho Rio in Wickenburg.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Arizona's a big place. I should have narrowed that down to Rancho Rio.
You take a right or a left at Las Vegas? After that, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm tired. I am super tired, everyone, but I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Okay, very good. Well, I too want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the time with your family. So
awesome. Everybody have a great day, and we'll be seeing you hopefully Arizona, Las Vegas, all sorts of places. Give us a call. We're happy to help you out. Take care.
Adios.
adios.